this is an interesting note here. There's a trade-off between directness of your data and your ease of measurement. All right, so we have 3 areas that we're going to measure against: on-site activities, those quintessential values that we just talked about, attitudes, perceptions, intentions, abilities, and behaviors, and your ultimate results. All right, so what are the data types? So on-site you have attendance, interactions, I exchange cards, information with you. The quintessential values you get from survey responses. You can measure perceptions and attitudes from a survey. And then the ultimate results would be a lot of different things: sales, customer turnover, employee retention. I did an employee meeting. We had a big change in our organization. We had our first kickoff employee meeting, and we want to make sure people stay with the company. So I'm going to measure turnover as a result of the meeting. You're going to ask here what observable behaviors will contribute to the achievement of the objectives. So can we observe attendance? Yes. How will the quintessential values be different after the event if the objective is met? And how does achieving the objective affect the bottom line under the ultimate results? Okay, so this is a direct measure, right? How did my sales go? I can see in the spreadsheet how sales went. The ease of measuring that is not very easy, because if you're, like we talked before, this event that's 9 months before your sales cycle, how do I determine what my event did to my sales cycle? That's pretty hard to do. But here, right, in attendance, direct contacts exchange, I can easily measure that with a lot of mobile-based tools. How many people did I have at my booth? I can do that with a clicker. Right? I can count on a little spreadsheet how many people. Very easy to measure. But it's an indirect reference to potentially sales later on down that sales cycle. That make sense? All right. So here, back to our earlier slide where we showed our event objectives for our customer meeting. We had these. And here are the things that we may be able to do to put metrics against that, right? So, for instance, we wanted to have an objective that we wanted to enhance brand perception. Well, we can ask the people in our audience their perception of the brand before and after the meeting and see the difference in the change there. As your stakeholder group, you need to work to figure out what these are as your team, and then decide which ones you're going to put percentages against, because there's a lot. You know, grow event, right? Year-over-year growth, that's 100% of this particular metric. We're going to weight that very high. That's what we wanted to do, was grow our event. We're going to have a direct measurement of that. That's really important to us. And so you could have, in this case here, promote purchase, you have 2 metrics. We're going to have a metric of qualified leads captured and improve intent to increase investment. These percentages here and here are all up to your stakeholder group. What's important to you and your team? That's probably the single hardest thing to reach consensus when you're working on this type of project. What matters most? And getting agreement on what matters most. All right, so we've defined our metrics, and so here's our metrics, and here's our weights. These are the things we're going to measure against. So with me so far?